Sarvastaratu durgani sarvo bhadrani pashyatu sarvasad buddhimapnotu sarva sarvatra nandatu. Hari Om. That's it. Dear devotees, friends, today we'll be discussing about the Bhagavan Buddha. This is the uniqueness of the Ramakrishna mission, and because of our founder, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he travelled all the paths and reached to the goal, and then declared that all paths are leading to the same goal. And we believe in that, and we practice that. And that is the reason over here we have observed all the other the great the souls, their jayantis, their celebrations, and their celebration in a very humble way, a little puja, offering respect, and then discussion about their life and philosophy. Bhagavan Buddha did not write any book, but his words were saved by his disciples. Immediately after his demise, after his death, after 300-400 years, his Mahaparinirvana, the first Buddhist council was called. That was 400 before Christ, 400 years before Christ. And it was called by Ajatashatru, the king, and at Rajgriha, that is Rajgir now present in India, in the presence of Anand and Upali, the two famous disciples of Bhagavan Buddha. The main scriptures, that was, they tried to save the teachings of Lord Buddha, and then how to instruct others to continue the legacy of Buddha. That was the topic of discussion. Any individual practicing religion is different, but the moment it will be an organized way, then naturally they need some philosophy, scripture, and that is the reason they developed Tripitaka. Tripitaka is a three. Three means three, and Pitaka. What are those Pitaka? First is the Sukta. Sukta means his messages. The first step of that scripture was the Tripitaka, is the Sukta. The Buddhist literature is known as Tripitaka. Our Veda, the Christians, the Bible, Quran, the Buddhist Tripitaka. All Buddhists, they will be reading the Tripitaka. What is there? In the first, it is Sukta, that is his messages. Then comes Vinaya. Vinaya is the instruction for practical life. The Buddha's teachings, Vinaya, the instruction for practical life. And third comes Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma, dharma in Sanskrit, dhamma in Pali. His philosophy. Now, the moment there will be the philosophy, again, as I always tell, and you know, you have to explain the creator, creation, and the relation between the creator and the creation. Any philosophy means this: where from this universe came, the world came, who created, what is the relation between the creator and the creation. These are the three steps. The Buddha's mission was to find out a path, a way to reach the ultimate peace. And after his achievement, his realization of the truth, knowledge, he got Buddhatta, Bodhi, Jnana. Bodhi means Jnana, Buddhatta, the knowledge. And then he was thinking what to do. And he explained in a very simple way. Buddha is the first who spoke in Pali. That was the common language for the ordinary people. Majority of the educated people, they used to speak in Sanskrit. Buddha is the first one who spoke in Pali language. And that was the reason it spreaded so fast among the ordinary masses. And there he said 4 truths. Chatvari Arya Satyani. Chatvari means 4. Arya, noble. Satyani, the truth. 4 noble truths. What are those? First is truth of dukkha. There is suffering. Truth of dukkha, there is suffering. This whole world is full of suffering. We will be explaining afterwards. Then there is the origin of dukkha. Dukkha karan. Origin of dukkha. You are suffering. Why? Because there is an origin. There must be something that you have done, and for that you are now suffering. That origin of dukkha. Then the truth of cessation of dukkha. Cessation of suffering. There is a chances, opportunity, possibility of the cessation of the suffering and the path leading to the cessation of dukkha. These are the 4 Arya Satyani. Then in the Vinaya, the second step, this is called Sutta. And the second in the Vinaya, the instructions to the practical life, what is that? He said, right view, sammak drishti. Right view. Majority of the people cannot understand what is real life. The right view is the main thing. Second, right intention. Sammak sankalpa. Sammak means right. Sankalpa. Sankalpa means intention. Then the right speech. Sammak bhak. Then right action. Sammak karma. Right livelihood. Ajivana. Right effort. It's called vyama. Samyak vyama. Pracheshta in Sanskrit. Pracheshta. Samyak mindfulness. Samyak smriti. This is right mindfulness. Samyak smriti. Then right concentration. Samyak samadhi. These are the 2 main things in the Buddhist practices. First is 4 Arya Satyani. What is that? This world is full of suffering. And the suffering has its reason too. And you can be away from suffering, you can get liberation from suffering. 3. And there is a path to go out of suffering. 4. These are the 4 things. And the 8, this Ashtamarga, 8 path, these are called Sammak Drishti, Sammak Sankalpa, Samyak Bhak, Samyak Karma, Samyak Ajivan, Samyak Vyam, Samyak Smriti, Samyak Samadhi. This is the whole of Buddhist religion. These are the 8 and 4, 12. Now the religion, as Swami Vivekananda is telling, religion is a process that makes a brood unto man and man unto God. So slowly, slowly it is elevating the person. And how the person can be elevated, from where it will be elevated? From selfishness. Because of the selfishness, cruelty comes. Himsha, dvesha, kurata, all these things come from that selfishness. And from there slowly people are uplifted. In all religion, these are the first, all these things. Philosophy will be there, mythology will be there. Philosophy is the abstract knowledge, and to explain that abstract knowledge, mythology, practice that knowledge, ritual, and from the ritual comes morality, and from morality comes ultimate spirituality. These are the 5 steps of religion. There are some people always criticize religion because of the rituals. So that is the problem. They don't understand the religion as a whole. Majority will be looking at the rituals, different rituals, and they think all religions are different. No. It's only the rituals. That is the. This great lover of humanity, Bhagavan Buddha. Why? Because he wanted that all people should be happy. And he went out to find out a path to make everyone happy. And he was born 563 years before Jesus Christ. So this Buddha, it's called Buddha Charita. That is the main book on Buddha. It is in a poetry form written by Ashwaghosha. It is the earliest full biography of Bhagavan Buddha. Buddha Charita by Ashwaghosha. Buddha's father was Suddhodan, an elected chief of Shakya clan. Now this word, elected chief of Shakya clan, he was not the king. The Ganatantra was there in our country, and Gautama was their family name, Siddhartha Gautama, and we call it Gautama Buddha. Gautama is the family name. So Siddhartha Gautama, his father was Shuddhodana, and his mother was a princess of Kalinga. Kalinga, now the Odisha, Mahamaya, and afterwards she was known as Maya Devi. The Queen Maya once dreamt that an white elephant with 6 tucks entered into her body. And from then onward, she felt that she is pregnant. After 10 months, she gave the birth Siddhartha. Siddhartha means Siddha Artha, one who was born to be successful. That's called Siddhartha. As per tradition, the girls in India, when they become pregnant, usually go to their father's house for the child's birth. The Maya Devi was also going to her father's kingdom, but on the way at Lumbini, the beautiful garden, she gave birth under a shal tree. These are all there, the Lumbini. Now it is in Nepal, in the border of India, Nepal, that Lumbini is there. In India, they believe that Buddha was born on a full moon day. Hence, this Purnima is known as Buddha Purnima. Today is the Purnima. I don't know whether we will be able to see the moon or not. If it is a clear sky, we can see the Buddha Purnima. During his birth ceremony, a famous hermit, he came down from his cave and visited the Kapilavastu. He wanted to see that newborn baby, Buddha, and seeing him, he announced that this famous saint was Ashita, that Ashita, Deva, Ittadi, that Ashita. And he said, this child is going to be a great king or a very famous holy person, Raja Chakrabarti. That during his naming ceremony also, Shuddhodan invited 8 learned Brahmin to read his future. The youngest of these 8 Brahmins was Kaundinya in pronunciation. They declared one day this boy Siddhartha would become Buddha. And this announcement from these 8 people, the learned Brahmins, perturbed Shuddhodana. And the life of Buddha, India was having democracy at the time of his life. This is another thing. The democracy was always there in India. So this is the uniqueness. There were Janapada. And this Janapada, they used to elect their leader. And that's called city states, Nagara. This Janapada and many Janapada combined with a city state, Nagara. And Nagaradhipati, that was the king. He was the administrator. It was not the family thing. It was only by election. After the birth of Siddhartha, his mother died, and after 7 days. And then the Siddhartha grew up under the care of Maha Prajapati, the sister of his mother. Like every loving father, Siddhartha's father, Shuddhodana, never wanted that his son become a sannyasi. So he wanted to keep him away from all worldly suffering, rather wanted to give him all the best things in the world. Arranged marriage at the age of 16 with a beautiful girl, Yashodhara, and Siddhartha spent his life, some people they say 24 years, and some say 29 years. And by this time he was having a son, Rahul. When Shuddhodana was sure enough that the son has grown up and he has become accustomed to live in this kingly life, then he allowed the son to go out to mix with the ordinary people. And that was the great teaching in the life of Buddha. When he went out, he saw only 4 things. First, an old person. Siddhartha, till 29 years or 24, never seen any old person. Second, diseased person. Third, a dead body of a person. And fourth, an ascetic, free and happy. These are the 4 vision, samyak drishti. The moment he saw these things, immediately he started thinking, what is this life? And if everything is changing, his father's friend and his charioteer, Channa, he explained to Siddhartha that this is inevitable for everyone. Siddhartha asked, whether I am also going to be old like this and die like this? He said, yes. Yashodhara, she is also going to become old. She is also going to die. Yes. Rahul, yes. Then Siddhartha decided that I have to find out a path by which I can bring something, some knowledge, that all people become happy and can live eternally. That was his idea. So he came out riding his favorite horse, Kantaka. Kantaka was his favorite horse. Siddhartha quit his palace, queen, son, everything in search of eternal life. At Rajgaha, that is Rajgir, he practiced meditation under 2 spiritual persons. One is Alara Kalama and another is Udaka Ramaputta. Very eager to know more and more and to find the truth, he started practicing extreme austerity. And we know that tremendous austerity that he practiced, and he was not taking anything except the fruits that was falling from the tree or the leaves that was falling from the tree. One day, when he became emaciated totally, by that way he became totally emaciated. Then it so happened that he understood that by this way I cannot survive, because I cannot think. He went to bathe in a river. There he fainted. Somehow some people saved him. Then he understood this is too much. I cannot think any at all. There's a story in the Upanishad. One disciple came to his guru and asked, "What is Brahman?" Then the guru said, "I won't answer today. From today, coming 15 days, you must fast. Then after that, after 15 days, on the 16th day, you come and meet me. Ask the question." And he went and started fasting for the 15 days. After the 15th day, when he came, the guru asked, "What was your question?" "Sir, I have forgotten." "Now what is there in your thought?" "Only food. I am so hungry. I want to eat food." Then he said, "Anyam brahmeti vyajanat." Anya, the food, is the Brahman, the fast. Anyam brahmeti vyajanat. You should not waste the food. You must keep it properly, because that will help you. That will help you to survive. And that is the reason in our country they never touch the rice with the feet, with the leg, because that is a sacrilege. They should not do it. With great respect they will keep it. And the rice, the raw rice, is considered as a Lakshmi. They will be worshipping. And I have seen in Andaman, not seen, heard, we can say, the Jadavas, the aboriginal people, when they come to the villages, they are very fond of eating rice. And when they give them rice, they will be eating. And even a single one, if it is left over there, they will take it properly, carry it so that they can eat afterwards. They give a lot of respect to the food. So this Buddha understood that I have to survive, and this body is the main of that. So he went and bathed and sat under a tree, peepal tree. That particular moment, one village girl came. She wanted to offer the tree god some rice pudding and milk. She brought the milk and the rice pudding, and she saw Buddha, but emaciated in such a way, she thought this is a spirit. So she gave that spirit, that she gave those food over there and left. Buddha drank, ate, and slowly he felt that he can think now. There he took that oath, "Ihashane shashyatu me shariram tagastimamsham pralayanta jatu." I am going to leave this body over here, whatever happens, happen. I won't leave this ashana, I won't leave this seat till I get the realization. And he got the realization. And this Bodhi Briksha has become very famous. Bodhi Briksha, now many people they take the saplings from that Bodhi Briksha. It is now Bodh Gaya, it is in Bihar in India. The Siddhartha became Buddha, the enlightened one, or the awakened one. The enlightenment, the enlightened, as if something is coming from outside. No, it was latent, it was already there. It is only awakened. So Buddha became awakened. After this jnana, Buddha was in two minds. Shall I remain silent or speak for the suffering masses? Same thing happened in the life of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. When Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, after his all these realizations, and he was thinking, what shall I do? Now shall I give up the body, because I have already achieved all that knowledge? And tremendous pain was there within the mind and body. If you still go to that Dakshineshwar, exactly opposite to the room where Sri Ramakrishna stayed, there is this building that's called Kuti Badi, where the landlord is to come and stay. And there was a special room allotted for Sri Ramakrishna. He was there for many years at the time of his sadhana. And when he was rolling on the floor and crying, and he was not understanding what is going to happen to him, what he will do, Then suddenly from that floor, a white smoke came up. And within that smoke, he saw a face of a rishi, long white hair, beard, and he said, Bhav Mukhe Thaka. Bhav Mukhe. You remain on the threshold of that spiritual world and this mundane world. That Bhava Mukha. You have to live with these people to help them to understand the truth, to guide them. So that was the Bhava Mukha. At the same time, whenever you want, you can go to that higher realm. So Bhava Mukha. Here also, Buddha was in two minds. Then Brahma Shampati. They say Brahma Shampati appeared before Buddha and said, you must live for the masses and you have to spread this message. Then Tapusa and Ballika, they were the two merchants. They first met Buddha, and then the moment they saw Buddha, they felt within themselves that he is not an ordinary person. They saluted, paid respect, and begged for blessings, and Buddha initiated them. They were the first two lay disciples of Bhagavan Buddha, Tapusa and Ballika. Then he came to Varanasi, the seat of learning. All these people, learned people who wanted to spread their messages, the new ideas, the philosophy, they used to come to Varanasi. And at Varanasi only, they have to give their sermons which will be attended by all the learned people. There will be arguments, and then only people will accept. So he came to Varanasi and gave his first sermon. And here he found his one-time companions, the 5 ascetics. These 5 ascetics, they started with Bhagavan Buddha. They also wanted to realize God. They started with Bhagavan Buddha, and when they found that, not Buddha that time, Siddhartha, that the Siddhartha is practicing so severe austerity, they were sure that Siddhartha is going to be successful, and they were waiting. When they found that Siddhartha has taken food, they said, oh my God, now he has fallen from his own vow, because he vowed that I am not going to eat. Now he has taken food, so he is fallen from his ideology, so it's not necessary to be with him. They left. After this, when they say in a story, when Buddha was coming after his jnana, and from distance they saw him, and they were discussing among themselves, look at that man, again he is coming to us. And this time we are not going to pay any respect to him. We are not going to recognize him at all. Let him come, let him go. But the moment the Buddha came, they could not resist. All the 5 of them stood up and offered pranam to him, offered respect to Lord Buddha. That is the power of God. That is the proof of God. The moment one realizes God, no one can deny him. And we see in the modern time when Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he was an ordinary Brahmin, uneducated, from a village. He was a priest in a temple. When he was meeting the very famous people, like the landlords, the father of Rabindranath, famous Rabindranath, he went to meet him. He met so many other people also, never cared. Rather, they started taking very seriously to the Sri Ramakrishna. When we are reading the Panchama Veda, we know this. Even the very learned person like Vidyadhara, he respected Sri Ramakrishna. Why? Just because he was a priest. There were so many thousands of priests were there. Because they could not but to respect him. So that is that this 5 people came near him, and they accepted Buddha as their guide. And with these 5, Bhagavan Buddha started Dharma Chakra. And this Dharma Chakra means the Shangha, the organization. It was the first time in the whole history of the religion, an organization of the monks, of the monastics were formed by Bhagavan Buddha. The tradition was, in the long back, you go to Guru, accept someone as your Guru, stay with him and get training. After that, Guru will say, now you are ready. Either you can stay over there till the Gurus passes away, or you can go out and start your own. But now the Bhagavan Buddha started a Shangha, that's called Dharma Chakra. That is why the symbol of the Buddhist is a chakra. And that's called Dharma Chakra, the wheel of Dharma. 45 years he traveled in the Gangetic plain, and thousands followed him. He said to the people, listen, my friends, life is full of suffering. That's Chatvari Arya Sattari. The life is full of suffering. There is birth, decay, death, accompanied by sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. So this is the reason whole life you are suffering. I will tell you a path by which you can go beyond this suffering. Why this suffering? Then he said, Anishcha. Anishcha means uncertain, transitory nature of this. Then dukkha, this is the suffering, and ego entity, anatma. Without this ego entity, one will be free from the suffering. These are the 3 points he pointed out to the people. One is Anishcha, Dukkha, Anatma. When we are discussing the Buddha's philosophy, it's so similar to the Vedanta philosophy, Hindu philosophy. This Jagat is transitory, constantly changing. So that is also the Hindu philosophy also telling the same thing. And if you are putting your whole mind and soul into it, you are going to get the dukkha, suffering. Same thing as the Buddha is telling. How can you find delight and mirth? There is a small poem that describes the philosophy of Buddha. How can you find delight and mirth where there is burning without end? In deepest darkness you are wrapped. Why do you not seek for the light? So this is the way Bhagavan Buddha he was explaining. And then at the same thing we find in the Shankara. And Shankara is telling, then after having this human birth, if you are not striving to realize God, aho dukkham, aho bhagyam. So this is the way all people are telling, we understand this, but only we do not get the encouragement or the mental strength to follow that path. The origin of suffering, what is the origin of suffering? There is suffering, we know. But what is the origin of suffering? In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna said, Kama esha, krodha esha, rajo guna samudbhava. Kama, desire. The same thing Lord Buddha said, tanha. In the words of the Pali, Bhagavan Buddha, in the Pali, it's called tanha. Tanha means desire, desire, desire. Vasana. Ma Sharadamani Devi also said, if you are free from the desire, vasana, that very moment you are liberated. There are thousands and millions of desires are there. And that is the reason we are going on suffering in this life. Sometimes we understand, sometimes we do not. But one point of time we will understand it. That's what Swami Vivekananda said. And then we will strive for liberation, and then we will get liberated. So this tanha, sensual craving, then eternal existence, jeene ka ichha, as they call in Hindi. We like to live, we don't like to die. That is called another tanha. And then temporal happiness, the cravings, and something that we get, that we wanted, we got, and we are happy. These are the tanhas, these are the three things. That's called tanha. Then the extinction of suffering. How to go out of it? There's a path. But how to go out of it? Then he said, annihilation, cessation, and overcoming of bodily form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. These are the Buddhist philosophy, a little bit complicated because of the words, because of the way they are expressing. But the main thing in Bhagavad Gita, as very clearly said, tyage naikhe amritattamanasu. Without the tyaga, without the vairagya, without the renunciation, you cannot get the peace. Here the same thing Buddha is telling in a different formation, different language, because you have to understand, we are speaking of a person from now 2000 or close 2600 years before. That time the language was different, expression was different, the way to convince people were different. So this he is telling, you can be free from the suffering if you can have all these things. What is that? You have to give away your tanha, your desire. Now the question comes, if we give away our desire, what remains? Your duty. When we are giving away our desire, what remains? Our duties. And this duty is known as dharma. That is the religion. If we see through the eyes of the Bhagavad Gita, very clear. And it says that when Arjuna is telling that I want to follow the path of the Brahmins, I want to beg and survive, Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, he is telling, don't talk like a foolish person. Don't talk like a fool. You are a Kshatriya. You cannot survive like that. Why? Because the nature. The somebody's nature is like the Kshatriya. He can never even remain quiet. And somebody is like the Brahmanas. So he will always be quiet. As I was telling you, one young man came after his marriage. That wife was known to me, their family. And the wife was complaining, look at this man I married, and he is constantly eager to go inside the jungle and to see what is there in the jungle and all these things. Why can't he sit here quietly and listen to you? I told, what does he do? He is an army officer, and look, he is an army officer, naturally a Kshatriya, and any danger, that always he enjoys to face the danger. And look at me, I never entered into jungle. Why? Because the Brahminical, the way of life. So I was always trying to sit over here, reciting poems and reading books, talking with the people. Unnecessarily, why should I go in the jungle? So that is the temperament. Here also the same thing, you cannot. So when they say give up your desire, does it mean simply like a lump of the earth, clay or a stone will be leaving? No, it will be very active. And active according to our nature, but without attachment. The moment we are free from the attachment of the work will be very excellent. And at the same time, we are not suffering. So that is what Bhagavan Buddha is also telling in those days, that you have to be very active. Not here directly, indirectly he is telling, if you are giving away your tanha, you will be free from the suffering. And we are explaining over here from the light of Sri Ramakrishna Vivekananda Mahasarada that unless and until you are working according to your nature, you cannot be free. Without work, you cannot come out of the work. So you have to work. And then slowly through the work, you will understand that through this work, I cannot get peace. Again and again, I am entangled. How can I be free? Give away the result of the work, then you are free. If you don't give, what will happen? Nature will come and whip you. And you must have to give away. So why not beforehand? And Bhagavan Buddha said, Madhya Pantha, the middle path you have to take. Too much of suffering or too much of indulgence in all the luxury, that is not good. So Madhya Pantha. And then he said, and what will happen if you take the Madhya Pantha? And again in a small 4 lines, the poem, it mentioned, more than any earthly power, more than all the joys of heaven, more than rule over all the world, is the entrance to the Supreme. So this is called Nirvana. The Supreme you will get, you will enter. Buddha went to his birthplace, Kapilavastu, after 2 years of his jnana, Buddhatta. His father went on sending requests. And the 10th people came to talk to Buddha, but 9 people could not express that mission to Buddha because of his personality. The 10th one was Buddha's childhood friend. So he came, he met, and then he said, your father wants at least once you come back and meet him. Buddha went. And when the Buddha was going, he was walking. His father arranged the chariots and all that. Buddha never wanted to go in that. He walked, and it took 2 months for him to reach that Kapilavastu. It is still there in Nepal. And his father naturally was so happy, and Buddha was followed by thousands of people. And his father, he arranged a great feast in the palace. But then the next day he saw Buddha never entered into the palace. He stayed under a tree. And next day his father found that Buddha is going door to door begging. His father came running to Buddha and said, this is a unique conversation, and we will understand what this sannyasa means. Siddhartha, O my son, ours is the warrior lineage, and not a single warrior has gone seeking alms. We are Kshatriyas, warriors. We don't beg. Why you are begging? Buddha replied, O king. He didn't say father. This is here, the father is addressing him as son, but the son is addressing him, O king. That may not be the custom of your royal lineage. It is not your royal lineage, but it is the custom of my Buddha lineage. Always Buddhas have gone out seeking alms. So this is the way, the moment you are taking the sannyasa, you are no more belonging to that family. So that is the reason you have to, not only the family, that cult, that culture, nothing, totally newborn. And this is the custom. He said, Buddha lineage. Sanak, Sananda, Sanatana. These are the children of Bhagavan Brahma. And from them comes the Brahma Jnana. And that comes to Totapuri. And then to Sri Ramakrishna. And then through Sri Ramakrishna to his disciples and mother. Then from the mother, her disciples, and direct disciples. That is the lineage. One of our Swamis used to say, always feel proud. We belong to this lineage. We are the lineage of Bhagavan Buddha. And this is the ochre cloth that you are wearing, which Buddha once were wearing, Shankara wearing. So you must always go on thinking and feeling proud about your lineage. So that Bhagavan Buddha is telling, in our Buddha lineage, everyone went for begging. Why? There is no ego at all. The moment you are belong to the royal family, there is the ego. But the moment you go and join in the sannyasa, the one Swami of our order, he was telling that we the American monks like to meet, this is this. I told, American monks, Indian monks, is there anything like that? The moment you become a monk, you become a monk. And you can never say that you are American or an Indian or Pakistani or what. That is never. And if you are still thinking in that way, you have not got the basic of the monkhood. You cannot. So that is the basic training we find in the life of. And Buddha formed a Shanga. This is important. And there, like the Pancha Pyare, when the Dasam Guru Govind Singh, he wanted to form a group of people who will be sacrificing their life to save these people. The Sikh means the Shishya, disciple. The word Sikh means disciple. And disciple means one who is ready to dedicate everything for the Guru. That's why the Sikhs, they always say, Wa Guru ki Fateh. Guru means God. And Fateh means the greatness. I don't know anything of all this. Whatever I have been asked by my Guru, I do. And if it is successful, all credit goes to the Guru. Wa Guru ki Fateh. And that was their war cry also. Even the Sikh regiment in India, whenever they charge, they shout, Wa Guru ki Fateh. So that is called, the Bhagavan Buddha also decided 5. And there is a story, goes like this. Panch Pyare means he wanted 5 very courageous people. And from the congregation, Govind Singh Ji. And he said, is there anyone who can come over here and I will cut his head and with his blood I will cook something to offer the God. Everybody was wondering, why should I go and he will kill me? Suddenly one young man stood and came and he took inside and there was a sound and he came out with the sword, with the dripping the blood. People saw, and then second man, third man, fourth man, fifth man. There was all this. Then he asked them to come out. He didn't kill them, only wanted to see the courage. And then he said, these are my Panch Pyare. And Bhagavan Buddha in those days, he also chose the 5 disciples. Ananda is the first one, Sariputta was the second, Aniruddha, Upali and Shubhogi. After the Shuddhodhan's death, his foster mother, Mahaprajapati, she was going on praying to Buddha, and Buddha was going on refuting, no, I am not going to accept the ladies in this Shanga, because of different problems. But when the mother came along with a big group of royal ladies to Buddha and requested, now we are all free, we don't have any duties, give us sannyasa. And Ananda, he also persuaded. Then Buddha said, Ananda, because of you only I am giving the permission. But know it for certain, if you are keeping both together, the Shanga will break. Then he gave the permission. And Buddha taught them the Shila. Shila means the discipline. What is that discipline? The purity of thought. Now, what is that purity of thought? Whatever you are thinking, that should collaborate with your words. Whatever you are speaking, that you are thinking. And what you are thinking and speaking, that you are working. in action. So that should be equal. That is same thing Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, Mon, Mukh, Act Karo. Your mind and your words, it must be same, thought and word. The first thing Buddha taught, that is purity of thought, then purity of word. You should not utter any word that will hurt others. Never. Ma Sharadamani Devi used to say, do not say if anybody is lame, hey, why you are lame? Oh, the lame man, come over here. Never speak like that. Because that will hurt him. Never use any such thing that may hurt others. Or at the back of the others, do not say anything that afterwards they will suffer or feel bad. That's called purity of word. Then purity of deed. Do not do any such thing that harms others. And then finally he says charity. Because if you can give in charity, that's a great thing. You know, among the sannyasis also, so many things we go on getting. The people will be coming and giving us. The moment you are in a position, so naturally many devotees come and go on give. So many accumulation, what he will do? But many of the people cannot give it away. They will be keeping, even the sannyasis. And that is why we have seen our 10th president, Dasham Guru, we used to say, the Swami Bireshwarananda ji, he was having only 3 or 4 pairs of dress and nothing else. And whatever new thing came, good thing came, immediately he used to remember somebody told something like this, immediately we will send it to him. That way, not only the charity, not only for the householders, of course in the householders. Who can give charity? And you have to understand charity means giving a secret for a good cause, not for the name and fame. That is called charity. So this way you have to, if the moment you think what I am going to do with all these things, let me help other people also, that means your thought is becoming pure. Someday you have to leave it. The one person was telling, when I die, then you give it in charity. When, so why? Then I told, why? When you are alive, give in charity. Then you will see how joy you will get. There's a small thing that I saw long back. The one young small boy, he was holding the hand of his mother and going walking, and he was having a chocolate in his hand, ready to eat. And you know, for the small children, the chocolate means candy is very attractive. And when he was about to lick, he saw another child, rather younger than him, sitting on the footpath. He was very poor, and he was looking intently at that candy. Then this boy thought, shall I give it to him or shall I eat? It went on thinking, then he passed. His mother was not noticing this. This boy was constantly looking at this boy, and this fellow also constantly looking at his hand. Because being a very poor, he never tasted, but very much tempted. Now suddenly this boy overcome all this own personal greed and took away the hand from his mother, came running back and gave it to the small little boy. And this boy, he didn't say thank you or anything. He saw that, his eyes became bright, he looked at him and immediately started leaking to that. And this young man was so joyful, he was jumping and running at the back of his mother. And then the notice came, enjoy the joy of giving. So that is, Bhagavan Buddha is telling that this Shila. Then he announced at the age of 80, 40 years he was a missionary life. And then at the age of 80 he announced, I am going to enter into Parinirvana, I will never come back. And 13th May 544, that is the Burmese Buddhist, they mention, they accept Buddha entered into parinirvana. And now there are many fractions of Buddhism, and that is obvious. Whenever there is a thought, so naturally people will be thinking according to their own understanding, and there will be different schools. That is obvious. So 13 May 544, he entered into parinirvana, and before that he called all his disciples and said, "Do you have any question to ask?" Then all of them, they said no. Then he said, "Okay, listen to me carefully. All composite things are perishable, because this body is made of 5 elements. So obviously it is a composite thing, are perishable. Strive for your own liberation with diligence. Atma Deepo Bhava. You become your own light. Someday or other you are going to die. So go on striving, trying." After the Bhagavan Buddha, the 3 things they started, that's called 3 Sharan. These 3 Sharan, in English they call 3 jewels. They're very costly things, that's why Sharan. One is Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. And Buddha doesn't mean, again, we have to be very careful, Buddha doesn't mean a person. I am the way, I am the path, Jesus said. And immediately, if we are making it in this way, Lord Jesus is the only way, only path. Wrong. He is not a person, he is a principle. And that we have to apply, we have to understand. So Buddha is not a person, but the truth, the knowledge, the principle that we have to understand. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Then the teachings of Bhagavan Buddha, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. And then finally, Shangham Sharanam Gacchami. So we know that the eightfold, the training, Ashtamarga, and this eightfold, the Ashtamarga, and the 4 Arya Satya, and this right view, Sammak Dishti Tadi, that is called Dhamma. We have to practice that. Then again this says, Shangham Sharanam Gacchami. The Shangha is the body of that. This is important because always there is a tendency in the human being to be alone, separated. They don't like to stay with others. That is the natural way. But when you are living together and pursuing for a common goal, you need to adjust with others. And when you are adjusting with others, you are trying to understand others. At the same time, your ego is coming down, becoming low, or going out. Otherwise, you cannot adjust. That's why Shangham Sharanam Gacchami is also very important. So the Buddha is not a person. Buddha is a perfect wisdom. Let us chant these 3 Sharana and conclude this remembrance of the great soul, Lord Buddha. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.
Swamiji, may I ask one question?
Yeah, please.
Why Lord Buddha challenged the Vedic? Why Lord Buddha challenged the Vedantic or Vedic authority, Vedic authority?
Not that Veda authority, the Lord Buddha, he was explaining the God in a different way. You know that conversation between Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, that there is a conception that Buddha never accepted God, Ishvara. But Sri Ramakrishna said, not that he didn't accept, only he didn't explain. So that's why it is not the Vedanta, but the Brahmanical theories that was very prevalent at the time of Buddha. That Brahmanical theories, they were mostly imposing that you have to do the yajnas, yajna karmas and rituals and so many, if you go that life of those kings and history. So they were telling like that. The Buddha rebelled against those things. And that's why Swami Vivekananda said, the Buddha is a rebel child of Hinduism. He never wanted to make a separate path because he was trained by the Hindu sannyasins. He followed all the Hindu scripture and the path. And the expression he gave in Pali, so it seems that he is telling something new. No, it is the same thing. In Sanskrit and Pali, those who know both the language, they can tell you there is no differences. The only thing Buddha always telling, the why not practice this moral ethics, which will slowly transform you, then you will understand the religion. Instead of practicing the moral ethics, unnecessarily practicing religion in the name of rituals in the name of religion, and creating problem in the society and for you also. That was the Buddha. So that is the main reason. Thank you very much.